Hi, sir. My late father had the same birthmark. Right there. Funny how a whole life can tilt on a detail so small, like the inside of a left wrist, a faded crescent no bigger than a nickel. That's how it started, with me, Maya, standing by table 7 at the Whitmore Foundation Gala, the city's biggest billionaires swirling their wine and pretending not to notice the servers. But Raymond Whitmore noticito. He did, because when I said those words, the fork in his hand froze, and the jazz and laughter and all the clatter of the dining hall just dropped away. I saw him look at me, not like he was angry or confused, but like he was seeing a ghost. I didn't want to make a scene, you know? I just wanted to say it. Me mom always told me, if you ever meet a man with a birthmark like your father's, you remember it. You remember for both of us. So I did. And for a second, I saw something break behind Raymond's eyes. His assistant leaned in, whispered sharp and quick, but Raymond wasn't listening, not really. He was somewhere far away, probably remembering Savannah, 2001, paint-stained hands, dusklight, Aisa girl named Elise Williams. That was my mom, the woman everyone said would ruin him. She never told him she was pregnant. He never knew. After dinner, I barely heard the manager scold me in the staff corridor. Words like unprofessional and VIP experience floated right past. All I could think about was the way he looked at me, not as a stranger, but as a memory that refused to die. That night, alone in my little apartment on South Side, Chicago wind rattling my window, I stared at the old photo of my mom holding baby me and an unsent letter she'd left behind. If our daughter ever finds you, please be kind. Please be better than silence. I whispered, I think I found him, Mom, like it would reach her somehow. Meanwhile, Raymond was miles away in his penthouse, staring at the birthmark on his wrist, saying her name for the first time in decades. Elise. He hadn't left his apartment since the gala, hadn't eaten, barely breathed, just sat in his armchair, replaying Savannah, summer's humid air, magnolia trees, Elise barefoot in the grass. He loved her then. Maybe he still did. But back then, loving her cost too much. Family legacy. Inheritance. Pride. So he let her go and convinced himself it was for the best. She disappeared, and he never asked why. By morning, he had his private investigator on the case, a retired FBI guy, Theo Carter. I need confirmation, Raymond said, sliding over the obituary and my mom's photo. Everything discreetly. Theo just nodded, didn't ask if it was legal or moral. In less than 2 days, the file landed on Raymond's desk. Hospital records, my mom's death certificate, my own kindergarten forms with the father's name left blank, and a photo of me, headphones on, sketchbook under my arm, stepping out of Subway. I looked nothing like the girl he remembered, but the way I walked recognized that, and maybe that scared him more than anything. That same day I was at Mrs. Evans's kitchen table, the woman who'd half-raised me after my mom died. He saw it. I told her, meaning the birthmark. He shook. Mrs. Evans just stirred her soup and said, some men shake because they've seen a ghost, others because they see the truth too late. I asked if Mom ever told her who my father was. She said his name once, Raymond, never the last name. She didn't want you hating a ghost, didn't want you chasing one. I shrugged. I deserve to know where I come from, don't I? Mrs. Evans nodded but said, what you're after and what you get, they don't always look the same. Raymond, meanwhile, finally read the letter Mom had left him, tucked away with hospital records for years. You never fought for me, but I hope you'll fight for her if she finds you. He pressed the paper to his eyes, feeling the weight of all those years lived in silence. That night, I started a blog draft, The Girl with No Father and a Birthmark Full of Questions. I wrote, I met a man last night. He didn't recognize me, but he recognized something. A mark on his wrist, and maybe something more. I was raised never to expect, but maybe it's time I demand the truth. This isn't about money. It's about identity. I saved the draft not ready to publish, but needing to put the silence somewhere. Raymond didn't sleep. By morning, the file from Theo sat on his lap, and for the first time, he really looked at my mother's old apartment, at the forms with no father's name, at a photo of me older, uncertain but fierce. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered, but he knew the answer. He'd never asked. At the library, I scrolled through old Savannah newspapers, looking for what? Exactly? A name, a mention, a sign I belonged somewhere. And there it was, a grainy photo of Raymond at a development announcement. My mom in the corner, paint smeared, waving mid-mural. She was part of it, even if history tried to crop her out. I realized, maybe it wasn't my father who disappeared, maybe someone disappeared my mother, too. That morning, my blog post was no longer a draft. It went viral in those little corners of the internet where people like me gather, kids with questions, artists with holes in their stories. Raymond read it at his desk, every word. I don't want inheritance. I don't want headlines. I want answers. He called Theo again, give me Maya's number. When Maya got the call, she let go to voicemail at first. Miss Williams, this is Raymond Whitmore. I'd like to speak with you privately. I didn't call back right away. I sat with Mrs. Evans, told her he reached out. And what did you say? Nothing yet. Still saying something. Do you think he knew? I think some men don't ask the question because they're afraid of the answer. Others because they already know. Later, on a rainy evening, I called him back. Agreed to meet. Chose a small cafe on the south side. Walls covered with local art. Mother would have liked that. Raymond sat alone, no assistant, no briefcase, just a black wool coat folded on the chair beside him. When I walked in, he stood. Maya, he said softly. Mr. Whitmore. I didn't take off my coat. Let him speak first. I read your blog, he said finally. All of it. Then you know why I'm here. You want answers. No, I deserve them. His jaw tightened, but he nodded. I didn't know about you not until the other night. When you said what you said, I saw her. I saw Elise in your face. I blinked fast, but didn't look away. You say you didn't know, but did you ever wonder? Yes, he admitted. After Elise left, I thought about it, considered reaching out, but my life, my family, no excuses, I was a coward. I whispered, yes, you were. He nodded, and I will live with that for the rest of my life. We sat in silence. The coffee grew cold. She painted you, you know, I said, even when she hated herself for it. Raymond's throat moved, but he didn't answer. She said with kind eyes. I never believed her until now. He leaned forward. I would give anything to undo what I failed to do back then, but I can't. All I can offer is whatever truth or presence you'll allow. I stared at him, at the wrinkles by his eyes, the gray at his temples. I'm not here for your money. I just want to know, did you love her? Yes, he said, more than I had words for, more than I had courage to admit. And me? I asked, voice almost gone. If you'd known, would you have wanted me? He pulled out a creased, old Fatimi mom, young and glowing by the river, hands on her belly. She sent this to me once. I never opened the envelope. Not until last week. I pressed my hand to my mouth. I didn't want to know because knowing would have made me accountable. I was too weak to be accountable. I'm not asking you to forgive that, but I'm asking if you'll let me try now. I gave him a sketch I'd drawn at age 10, a woman with a crescent birthmark, holding hands with an imagined companion. You drew this? He asked, eyes glassy. I didn't know what you looked like, so I made you up. He swallowed. You gave me more kindness than I deserved. I stood. This isn't kindness. This is memory. Will you let me see you again? I don't know, but I'll think about it. Raymond sat in his study for hours after, reading old letters my mom had sent, never opened. If she finds you, I hope you remember how to love out loud. No business deal, no investor had ever made him feel this exposed. But with a drawing, a look, a sentenceeb, someone I can respect realized maybe it wasn't too late to try. Days passed. At the Whitmore Foundation press conference, instead of giving the usual speech, Raymond stepped up to the mic, looked the crowd in the eye, and said, in 2001, I loved a woman named Elise Williams, a painter, a brilliant woman. I let fear and legacy silence me. I didn't know she was pregnant. Her daughter found me, not with a lawyer. Silence has a cost. I failed 2 people, and I can't change that, but I'll spend the rest of my life honoring them. Back at Mrs. Evans's, we watched the live stream together. She didn't say anything, just squeezed my hand. Later, I left a letter at the statue in Lincoln Park. Thank you for saying her name. Thank you for saying mine. I don't know where this goes, but I'm open to one conversation at a time. Eventually, we met again. Not as father and daughter, not quite, but as people trying to do better. I gave him a framed print of my old sketch, now captioned, "We were never lost, just waiting to be found." He smiled, really smiled. "Thank you," he said, "for letting me be part of your truth. Truth deserves witnesses," I said, "even late ones." Later, we visited Savannah together, stood at my mother's grave. He gave me a silver locket with her photo inside something she'd given him once. She always loved giving people pieces of herself. I said tiny ones like she was afraid to give too much. He placed a bouquet on her grave. She gave me more than I deserved. On the way out, I told him I want to come back every year on this day. "I'll come with you," he said. "We'll see," I replied, and he understood. Sometimes family isn't built in hospital rooms or holiday dinners. Sometimes it's forged in rain, in silence, in truth spoken late, but spoken nonetheless. Sometimes it starts with a choice someone failed to make finally made. If you've ever felt invisible or unclaimed, if you think stories like this only happen to other people, tell me, do you believe makes a family? Blood, truth, or the courage to show up at last? Tap like, leave your thoughts, because sometimes one voice can break the silence for good.